Hey crafters! Today we're going to combine distress inks and distress oxides in not one but two cards with silhouette stamps. So the first thing we're going to do is create an interesting frame on the card. So I'm just tearing some post-it note tape for this. You could use purple tape or washi tape or even a piece of paper, and that torn effect will give it a really interesting frame. Now I'm making a line for the water there, and I'm going to start blending my distress oxides on the water at the bottom of the card. I'm using two blues for this, Broken China and Blueprint Sketch, as well as Wilted Violet, which you'll see in a moment. Now the distress oxides are quite thick and they look very creamy, and that looks really nice for water, as you'll see soon enough. They're also a dream to blend, so it isn't long before you'll have a beautiful gradient from one color to the next. Now I'm going to recycle a bit of packaging here to protect the white part of my paper, and I'm going to use some Perfect Pearls mixed in water in a little spray bottle, which I will mist over the water to give it a sparkly shine. And then I'm going to add some water on top of that as well, so that I have big drops and little drops in my water. Once I'm finished, I'm going to make sure that's nice and dry with my heat tool. Now once I'm sure this is completely dry on the front and the back, I'm going to remove that middle part of masking and move it over the water so that I can start the sky. Now when I do this, I leave a tiny little bit of the ocean showing, and that way I'm not left with a white space in between the two colors. Now we're going to start using our distress inks on the sky, starting with Tumbled Glass. This is the lightest blue, and then moving on to Salty Ocean. Now I love distress inks. There's no inks that are quite like them. They're so vibrant, and although they take a bit longer to blend, the results are incredible, as you'll soon see. Now once I'm happy with where the Tumbled Glass and Salty Ocean are, I'm going to add in some peacock feathers. This could be a green or a blue, depending on what you blend it with. Now once I've put those three colors down, I'm going to go back and forth between them and just blend out the lines so that it looks like a gradient rather than three harsh colors. Now as I said, this takes a bit more practice than using distress oxides, but as you can see, the colors are fabulous. Now once I'm happy with that, I'm going to add in a tiny little bit of Wilted Violet at the top. This will give us some symmetry with the purple that's in the water. We have to be careful with this color though, because it's quite dark. So just a tiny little bit, and then blend it out with the peacock feathers. Look at that sky, just gorgeous. Now we're going to remove the post-it note tape and reveal our wonderful background. Look how well those distress inks combine with the oxides. Now I'm going to work on my second card, which I've already created the ocean for using the same distress oxides as before. Now I'm going to work in rainbow order here, starting with Candy Apple. And you might notice that I did the masking slightly different, so I didn't put any on the top and the bottom. After Carved Pumpkin, I'm going to add some mustard seed in, and then I'm going to blend all three of these colors together. Now, of course, you don't need to use these colors. It depends on what occasion you're making your card for. But I wanted to show you a beautiful rainbow colored sunset. So once those colors are all blended in together, I can start adding in my Twisted Citron for my green color. And then I will add in some Salty Ocean as before, and some Wilted Violet. So I do want to finish off with the purple at the top again, just to create the same symmetry and make it look nice and even across the card. So once you've put the colors where you want them to be, you'll need to go back and forth between them to blend out any harsh lines so that you'll have a beautiful gradient that goes from one color to the next. This kind of card would be perfect for a masculine card, thinking of you, a sympathy card, or just a card to send to someone to brighten their day. Now the best bit. We'll remove the mask and reveal our gorgeous background. So you could use any silhouette stamps for this kind of card. I'm going to use some stamps from Hero Arts, including Lake Time Fun. Now I'm using my stamp positioner today, and that way I can double stamp all the images. And I'm also using a very dark black. This is Onyx Black by VersaFine, so that I have a very dark impression. This will be a great contrast with my vibrant background. I'm also purposely stamping some of the images onto the white space because I just love the effect that that gives. Now that I'm happy with the main stamps on my card, I just need to add one more thing, some fish. So I'm going to use my Distress Oxide for this, some weathered wood, and a stamping block, and I'm going to add in my fish. Now because I used this color, the fish will be visible, but they'll be subtle. And I love adding little details like that on my cards. So here are the two cards that we made today. The first one in blues, greens, and purples, and the second one in all the colors of the rainbow. Both cards with Distress Inks and Distress Oxides. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you found this useful and inspiring, and I hope you'll give it a try.